In the small town of Cheselwyck, there are 7 bus routes, but only 1 tram. A museum which exhibits a dinosaur skeleton. A castle ruin with a beautiful view, but without a ghost. To make up for that, though, there's a biscuit factory with a factory outlet. At the very edge of town, where you can already see the fields and hear the railway crossing gate, Fennel Vennel is situated. Number 19 is owned by Mr. Clever, but he doesn't live there. This is where people like Ernest live, the arts teacher, who's in love with the postwoman, and a nosy widow called Mrs. Pondicherry, and Janitor Woods, who's also the coach of the water polo team. But this isn't everything going on at Fennel Vennel number 19. As usual, the children are playing in the courtyard. With all that noise, I can't get any sleep. There are people here who have to work nights, you know, scolds Mr. Wheeler out of the window. Willy says, having to work at night is pretty dumb. But Tomek replies, lawbreakers never sleep. And he would know. The annoyed man in the window is his father, and he's a police officer. We don't want to be police officers when we grow up, say Tanya and Tonya. Then what? Pippa wants to know. We want to be rich and famous. Tomek asks, how will that work then? And the twins explain. First we will stand somewhere looking really chic. And then we will be photographed. And then we'll be in every magazine. And on TV. Then we'll get a lot of money. And then we will have the most fashionable clothes. And then we'll only do good deeds. We'll save the whales and the dolphins and bring them all back to the ocean. We'll have our very own pool. And we'll eat as much ice cream as we want. What a thing to imagine, marvels Pippa. She doesn't know at all what she wants to do yet. Willy says, but me, I want to be Super Willy. And I will take from the rich and divide it amongst the poor people of the city. Your fashionable clothes, your ice cream sundaes, your ham and sausages. And then I will defeat the forces of evil and fight for the good in the world. Super Willy, exclaimed Tanya and Tonya. That's not a real job. Willy says a superhero's only an alter ego. In fact, a superhero usually has a normal job in an office and has a family and so on. But when something important happens, here comes Super Willy. Don't worry, I'll get him, says Tomek. Tomek wants to be a rocket scientist or a chief police inspector, or both. Chief Inspector Rocket Scientist Tomek receives an urgent call. Chief Inspector Rocket Scientist Tomek jumps into his rocket and... Chief Inspector Rocket Scientist Tomek captures Super Willy again. But no! Super Willy escapes, disappears into the depths of outer space. But Chief Inspector Rocket Scientist Tomek chases after him to the ends of the universe. Everyone has such great ideas of what they'll be when they grow up, except Pippa. Pippa will be no supermodel. Pippa will be no Super Pippa either. And Pippa will be no Rocket Inspector Chief Scientist either. Pippa asks Ludmilla, do you know what you want to be as well? And Ludmilla answers, musician.
the Akrassimowitches would be musicians, and nothing else would do. And you? Asks Willy. What will you be? Pippa turns quite red because everyone's looking at her, and because she doesn't know. Pippa can't think of anything. Sarah wants to be a fairy. But that's not for Pippa either. Sergei is impressed. Pippa is really on the ball. A footballer! I will be a footballer. I love playing football. A super idea. I want to be a footballer too, says Willy. Me too. We should all be footballers, says Tomek. A real football team, laughs Pippa. We will all be rich and famous, cheer Tanya and Tonya. Ludmilla likes this too. She says, then we must begin our training immediately. But therein lies the problem. They no longer have a football. Maybe the little fairy with her magic wand can help? Fairy could also be a nice job, says Pippa and laughs.